This is the plaintiff, Maddie Laney. She says she hired the defendant to build her a new deck, gave him a deposit, and the guy took off with her money. He never returned her calls, never did any work, and somehow thinks he can get away with stealing her money? He doesn't know who he's messing with, because she's not the lazy type who's gonna let him get away with ripping her off the way he's trying. She's suing for $1,500, the amount of the deposit. This is the defendant, Terry Melendrez. He says he told the plaintiff it was going to take about a week to submit the drawings and get a permit for the deck from her town. But the lady got cold feet or something and called him a few days later saying she changed her mind and wanted her money back. He put a lot of work into the planning of this deck, lost his online home advisor contract because the plaintiff complained and lied to them, and he's not giving her back any money, that's for sure. He's accused of decking a customer.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff hired the defendant to build her a deck. She gave him some money, but no deck, and he ain't returning the money. The defendant says he did the work and got the permits, and she just changed her mind. It's the case of what a deck.
Thank you, Douglas.
Welcome in.
Maddie Laney?
Yes.
You are suing Terry Melendrez?
Yes.
And TNT Custom Creations, you're the owner?
Yes,
All
I
right,
am.
for $1,500 that you gave him in order to build a deck that, according to you, he didn't build. Tell me what happened.
That's right. He came by my house April the 24th. I got his ad from Home Advisors. We talked. Everything seemed to be fine. We agreed that he could build a deck. He looked at the area. And
What kind of deck was this going to be?
this was going to be a small 11 by 11
Just
approximately.
a square?
But also we was
No,
going to
was
have
it more than a square?
Yes.
What else did it
There was
have?
a few things that was added that were going to be added onto it, like a plant table, and she wanted a backing for it, like a fence behind it to kind of block her neighbors from seeing her.
All right, and so what happens? You agree on a price, and what was the price?
$3,500.
Do you have a contract?
Yes.
May I see the contract? And what happens? This is signed, and you give him the deposit on April 30th?
Yes.
Okay, and then what happens? And the deposit was in the amount of $1,500.
Yes, it was.
And what happens?
We agreed that I would go to pick up the permit after talking it over.
Okay,
I went to the township on 427. I picked up.
427 is before the contract's signed. The contract is dated
Yes.
April 30th.
Yes, this was before.
Oh, okay.
So the township says to me, this paperwork need to go to the contractor so he can sign off. There's a portion for him to sign off and to attach the plan.
Okay,
And I said to him that I wanted this deck built as soon as possible. On the 30th is when he came by.
okay.
That's with the contract. He didn't pick up the paperwork until May the 6th
What do you mean you didn't pick up the paperwork?
for the permit and the plot.
And you didn't hand it to him because you're the one who
Because-
went to the city to get it.
Yeah, I know, but I thought he had it till he was gone because it was right there on the table where we were sitting.
And he would know that how if you don't hand it to him and give it to him.
Well, somehow it didn't.
Did he forget it or did
He did tell me I forgot the paperwork,
Okay.
and he did. He picked
So
it
then he
up.
comes back to your house on what date to pick it up?
He picked it up on May the 6th.
May the 6th, okay?
May the 6th.
All right.
But I needed him to pick it up before then because I wanted to get this project underway.
All right. That's 6 days after you were with him and both of you forgot for him to take the paperwork. Okay.
Right. After he
So-
picked up the paperwork,
Uh-huh.
I called him and I wanted to know, had he presented it to the city? But the first day I called him, I got,
What day were you calling him?
about 3 days after he had picked up the paperwork.
Go ahead.
I got the message mailbox full. I did that for 3 days straight, and I got the same message. So I'm getting upset I don't know what to do. I'm panicking, and I'm losing trust because I did have trust in him in the beginning.
And you lost it because he didn't check his mailbox in 3 days? Have you met a lot of contractors?
No, I haven't. I haven't met a lot of contractors.
Okay.
And I said, I need my money back. I don't want to go any further, really.
Oh, so you told him, that's it, I haven't been able to reach you in 3 days, so we're done.
Yes,
Okay.
I had lost trust.
All right. Tell me what happened.
This is what happened. I met with Maddie the 24th, and then we spoke about the deck, we spoke about design, we spoke about what she wanted to do. And then when I came back the second time, which was on the 29th,
And you quote her
She did.
$3,500, she signs a contract. You don't take this with you. She says she didn't give it to you, but it was on the table. She thought you took it. You didn't take it. Bottom line is, contract signed on the 30th, and when do you come back to get this?
I came back maybe a day later or 2 days later.
To get it?
To get it. It was
Because
in the
she
door.
said you forgot it. Okay.
Yes,
And
it was
then
in
it's
the
on her-
door. I picked it up. I then left, and then we had conversations back and forth on the phone and as well with text.
And tell me about that.
There was probably 3 days that went by, but I just started this, working for this home advisor, and they said that,
Now, Home Advisor is a website where people who want to get contractors can get contractors?
yes,
Okay.
and I have to pay for the service, and so every time that I get a lead, like every time I go see someone, I have to pay for that, so that's what I did,
Even if you don't get the job?
even if I don't get the job.
So tell me what happens. You sign the contract on the 30th.
So I
You
signed-
pick up this paper a few days later, and then what happens?
Okay, so she doesn't hear back from him for 3 days. I'm going to you. 3 days. Does she have a right to cancel and get her money back after 3 days?
Yeah, she does, because she's paying for something to be done, and if it's not done, like, whenever she wants it, like...
You're nodding.
I agree with her.
You agree? What do you say?
I agree also.
Why do you agree? I'm going to put you in the spot. Why? Oh my God.
So she gets her money back, that's why.
Okay, well, that's a good reason. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
She wanted to get it done like right away, and I said, I don't know how long it's going to take for the permit. I didn't get a chance to get to the permit to go to turn in the permit, but at that time it was already like 3 to 4 days later, and then she was already upset, and she was already telling me that I don't want you to do my job because you haven't been over there to take care of this
In 3 days.
in 3 days, 4 days. Which to me, I mean, I've been with these guys. I was doing their jobs, and I have already had like 4 other jobs that I was completing from Home Advisor.
Was it ever discussed, like, when you would be able to get the permit and when, like, the timing of this, was that ever discussed with her?
The
or
only
no?
problem with the permit and stuff like that was with the Jersey Shore, with everything that was happening. I didn't know that it was going to take a day. It could have taken a day. It could have taken 3 weeks. It could have taken a month to get
Right.
the permit. So, but she wasn't at that point. She didn't want to wait that long. She wanted to get it
It's
done
not a
now.
matter of how long the permit's taking. Her impatience was that you hadn't gone immediately from her house straight to get
Understand,
the
but
permit.
yes, I did not.
But so she tells you you say 3 to 4. She says 3 days that you're fired. Basically, you're done.
Yes.
I don't want to work with you. And what do?
I call her up. We try to. I call her up and I ask her. I said, what can we do? Can we work this out? And she's like, no, I just want my money back. And she said, because you didn't draw a print, you didn't do any of this, and which I did. But I just didn't, I was never able to go to her house and say, listen, here's your permit, here's the drawing, here's everything that
Can
I did.
I see the drawing? Or is that what's on the contract?
No, I have a drawing. Hold on.
Okay. Deck. Okay, and this is all that would be required by the town in order to get the permit?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so did you tell her? I already did the drawings
Yes,
and
I
we're
did.
ready and
Yes, I
calm
did.
down. It doesn't happen this fast.
Yes, I did. We tried to work it. I tried to work it out with her. She called back a couple times.
Did you
She said-
tell her I'll go get the permit tomorrow? Like, did you give her a date by which you would go get the permit? Were you busy doing other jobs?
I was doing other jobs,
Okay,
and she
did you-
knew that. She knew
Once
that
you
I
make
was.
contact with her and you realize how much in a hurry she specifically is for you to actually go, did you say to her, okay, I'll bring it over there tomorrow or 2 days from now or next
She
Tuesday?
wouldn't
She
take-
didn't. She
she
just
didn't
wanted her
want-
money back and
she-
she's going to reach you in 3 days.
That's it.
You were on Home Advisor, and what ends up happening?
What do you mean? I mean,
With Home
How
Advisor.
do you do it?
Did she complain to them?
She did. I lost that account because of this.
What did you say to Home Advisors?
I told them that he was dragging his feet on going to pick.
Do you know
get
3
the
days is
permit.
not dragging their feet? I mean, you have to, like, I realize you want it done yesterday, but you know that the person you're hiring was already, he didn't start today doing his job. He was hired by other people before you yesterday and the day before that and the day before that and the day before that. If you demand that a permit be obtained in the next 72 hours, you better put that in a contract. You better put in there time is of the essence, and that permit needs to be obtained in the next 72 hours or 100 and something hours or whatever else you're demanding. 3 days is not an unreasonable amount of time. If it had been 30 days, I understand you. Man, he's not even taking the first step. We know the city's going to take their time, so gosh, at least take the first step. But you are literally talking about the reason that you canceled with him is because in 3 days his message machine was full. I think that's terrible, by the way, when people have the message machine full, but I know a lot of people roll that way when they're busy. So really, like, other than saying, hey, I've been trying to reach you for 3 days, maybe, you know, that's not soon enough for you to be saying, that's it, you've breached the contract. 3 days? There's nothing in your contract about when he was going to drop it off. I agree it needs to be within a reasonable amount of time. Just you and I disagree on what's reasonable. 3 days is not a long time for you to all of a sudden turn around and want to rip up a contract. And that's unfortunate because you already paid $1,500 on the contract. And if you breach the contract, I have to determine how much of this contract is his profit. He should be able to get his profit. And not only that, but you ended up costing him being able to advertise on Home Advisors. And I feel bad for you, Ms. Laney, but you know, you were very impatient. And 3 days is not sufficient to authorize you to go ahead and cancel and rip up a contract, a binding legal contract that you entered into. I am not going to order the defendant to return the deposit. I believe he earned the deposit between the drawings and multiple visits, and he has a right to be able to depend on a contract and that he's going to make the profit from that contract that you have no right to cancel. Verdict for the defendant.
Thank you.
So how about that? The defendant gets to keep the contract, and Ms. Laney, you have lost here in the People's Court. Sorry about that. What's your reaction?
I'm just glad it's over because it's been a year of just turmoil, and I'm glad it's over.
The judge thought you were a little impatient. Would you agree with that?
Well, I'll be more vigilant about who I pick to do work for me.
Okay, but again, do you think you were a little impatient? Maybe just a little bit?
Well, I tell you what, when you start getting messages saying mailbox full, phone disconnected, it's enough to you
Home
lose your
Advisors
trust.
couldn't even reach him. It was
Home
more than-
Advisors couldn't get him
It was
either.
more than the 3 to 4 days. It was the fact that nobody could reach him after the contract. It was
Couldn't
more
speak
than
to him.
It was more than the 3 to 4 days, and he sent a text message stating that he would give her the money back, that the check was in the mail. So
Well,
he
we
lied.
never heard that in the case. You didn't get that out.
It should have been stated.
Yeah, all
No,
right.
it should have been stated. Yeah.
All right, well, hey, Mr. Melendrez, what about that?
I mean,
I'm not Your
I'm
Honor.
sorry. Excuse me. I'm just a little nervous here.
That's okay. You didn't offer what she just said?
I offered that, I would give her something back if she, would be agreeable to, I did the drawing, I did some of my work,
The bottom line is when she sued you, you neglected to carry out that,
I
right?
did, yes, I did.
Well, I guess you're satisfied, right?
I am satisfied.
Indeed. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have some documents to sign back there, and that will conclude it. Harvey, what do you think?
Okay, Doug, well, look, there is no magic number of days that you have to wait before you can cancel. A lot of this just has to do with being reasonable. And my advice is emails are great because you have timestamps on them and you know exactly when you sent it. Don't just rely on a phone call because they'll deny getting it. Send them something, be it a text, be it an email, where they have an obligation to say they got it. And then if you send 3 or 4 of them over a period of time, like 3 or 4 days, seems to me that works. Better put the magic words in the contract. Time is of the essence.